Level 1. Bug Racket Kid. The best hands tennis will ever see are, right now, killing a mosquito. You're 12, Belle Glade, Florida. And what you want more than anything on earth is to be a boxer, not to fight. To be untouchable because where you're from, tough is the only thing that holds its value. One problem. You're the smallest kid in the grade, and the boxing gym is $40 a month your single mom doesn't have because she's working a double just to keep the lights on. So you train in the bathroom mirror, throwing combinations at a kid who's never ever going to fight back. What you're actually elite at is killing bugs. 2 seasons in Belle Glade, mosquito, and love bug, and you've got a $4 racket from the racetrack that drops them out of the air mid-flight, every time. You're so proud of it you do a little shuffle after each kill. A kid takes TikTok you doing it. Frying a love bug off the screen door, dancing. Brother you Mr. Miyagi if he grew up on food stamps. The whole squad's behind the iPhone, dying. It's online by dinner. By Monday the school's seen it. They call you the bug kid. Girls you've never spoken to do your little shuffle when you walk past. For 1 entire year you are not a person in that town. You're a meme people send each other when they're bored. Then your Uncle Ray, who played pro once, the broke tier nobody films, the closest thing to a father you've got, watches you drop 7 in a row without a miss. He looks at you. Son, you're too skinny to box. A stiff breeze would knock you out. Then he flips a tennis ball at your face, and you catch it clean, pure reflex, before your brain even agrees to it. He goes quiet. That, he says, that we can use. 17 years later, that reflex walks you onto the red clay at Roland Garros, across the net from the best player alive, a rich Spanish kid named Marcos, whose father owns the racket company. The boy who was handed everything. Against the boy, a whole town turned into a meme. But long before Paris, Marcos takes something from you that has nothing to do with tennis, that almost makes you quit. It's also the reason you don't. Level 2. Tennis beginner. 6 in the morning at the courts behind the rec center on Avenue E. You've told other kids you're running stadiums. You are not. You're hitting a ball against a concrete wall, alone, playing a sport that in Belle Glade might as well be polo. When they catch you, and they do, somebody yells, "I, Serena," across the whole park, and that's your name for 2 weeks. There's exactly one person who never laughs. Lena. She's known you since you were small enough to share a grocery cart, and she's the only soul who'll sit on a dead Buick and watch you hit a wall like it's worth watching. You're 14 now, 2 years since Ray flipped you that ball. You don't have a word for what she is yet. You just know you'd rather she were there than not. Then there's a net, there's a score. And there's a quiet little fact the second you walk on. Every other kid has 2 parents and a coach in the stands. And you've got a mom on a double shift, and a dad you wouldn't recognize on the street. You swing like you're trying to take the ball's head off. That's the boxer in you, still hunting the knockout. The ball clears the fence into the canal where the gators are. And Ray makes you fish it out with a pool skimmer because you can't afford to lose 3 balls a week. Stop trying to kill it, he says. Be there when it arrives. You hate that. It sounds like something printed on a tea bag. You want to hit something so hard it apologizes. Ray restrings rackets in his garage at night to pay for your tennis balls. Your first real frame came out of a dumpster behind a country club 2 towns over, cracked at the throat, epoxied overnight. You never say where it came from. Then one morning it just happens. You quit swinging for the kill and you meet the ball 20 times in a row, clean, the sound off the strings flat and perfect. Something rewires behind your eyes. Lena's the only one there to see it. She doesn't say a word. She just stops scrolling her phone. The boxing dream dies right there, quietly. You don't even tell Ray. He drives you to a 12 and under in West Palm, $25 entry he doesn't really have. You win it. Not because you're stronger, every kid there is stronger, taller, has a coach named Lars. You win because they all swing for the knockout, and you're there when the ball arrives every time. The trophy is plastic. You sleep with it. Across the ocean, a boy named Marcos is winning his bracket with a racket worth more than your mom's car, in front of a father who already has agents on the phone. You don't know him yet. The smart money is not on the kid from the muck with the dumpster racket. You stop wanting plastic trophies. You want the ones with cameras on them. You ask Ray where the real tournaments are, and he goes quiet in a way that means the answer costs everything you don't have. Level 3. Junior competitor. The kid across the net just called your ball out, and it landed a foot inside the line. It kicked up clay and he looked you dead in the eyes and pointed it long anyway. There are no umpires in junior tennis. Kids call their own lines, which means kids cheat, which means you just lost a point you won. And there's nothing you can do that doesn't make you the broke kid who couldn't take it. Here's what's different now. There are rankings, points that follow you like a credit score, and kids with private academies, 3 coaches each, and a dad in the bleachers filming on an iPad and screaming, "Bend your knees," like it's the Vietnam War. You lose that match. You won it, and you lose it. But you climb, slowly, on nothing but timing, until a letter comes. You qualified for an international junior event up in Orlando. Ray can't come. He's got a birthday party of 8-year-olds that Saturday in a gas tank that won't make it past G-Haw Junction. He has never once been able to afford to watch you play anywhere that mattered. So you go alone, 15 years old, your whole life in 2 bags, one of them all rackets. That's where you meet Marcos. He's 16, from Mallorca, traveling with an entourage and a father whose racket company, Vila, is stitched on everything he owns. Mid-match, he tells a ball kid to hurry up and last when the boy flinches. He plays like your existence is a typo he was sent to correct. He's a clay court bull, and he runs you corner to corner until your legs belong to a stranger. 6-love, 6-1. 1 game. You steal it on a return you have no business touching, too hot to swing at, so you don't swing. You're just there when it arrives. And you redirect it past him for a winner he never reads. 1 game, in a sea of nothing. In the front row, a man with a Federation badge watches that single game and writes something in a little notebook. Nothing ever comes of it. The system saw you take a game off a god, shrugged, and went back to filming the god. File it away. The people who shrug at you now are the ones who come calling the day you're worth something. Then Marco sees the electrical tape holding your grip together and says it loud enough for both courts. The line you carry for 14 years. You bring that to kill flies? Or to play tennis? He has no idea he just named your whole life. 14 years from now, on a Sunday the whole planet stops to watch. You do to him exactly what he just did to you. The kid from the muck who killed bugs for free ends, the prodigy with the perfect racket. But that's 14 years away. Tonight you fly home in a middle seat with 1 game to your name and a sentence stuck in your teeth. Lena's waiting in the cell phone lot when you land. She doesn't ask the score. She can already read it on you. You can't get better here. You turn pro at 17. Level 4. Futures player. You do the math exactly once in a motel parking lot in Pensacola, and then never again because the answer would end your career on the spot. The tournament is a $15,000 futures. That's the total prize money split across the entire draw. Win the whole thing, 7 matches, and the check is about $2,100. After the flight, the strings, and the room, you clear maybe $200. Lose first round, which is most weeks, and you have personally paid money for the right to be a professional athlete. This is the bottom, not the bottom anyone films, the actual floor of the sport. You split a $40 room with the guy you play tomorrow because it's the only way either of you affords the trip. You string your own rackets at midnight, hands smelling like burnt plastic all week. No coach, no physio, nobody in your box. Your box is a folding chair and a Gatorade going warm in the sun. The only person who answers when you call at 1 in the morning is Lena. Somewhere in the broke years, she stopped being the girl on the hood of the Buick and turned into the realest thing either of you has, even if you never once chose her over the next flight. She works the front desk at the Days Inn your mom cleans, but she's saving every tip to get to Miami. The muck was never going to hold her, and she wants cameras on her the way you want them on you. She has decided, against all evidence, that you're going to make it. You call her after every loss just to have a voice in the room that isn't your own. You win one. A whole futures title, a trophy the size of an egg cup. You clear about $1,800 and you call Ray from the lot, and he picks up over a bounce house full of screaming 8-year-olds, so proud he has to step outside to hear you, and he still can't fly out. He never can. A Spanish journeyman mentions, like it's the weather, that Marcos is top 50 now, flying private into Monte Carlo while you're in a town with 1 stoplight. A year older than you. Opposite universe. You crack the top 600 in the world and it feels like nothing, because it is nothing. A grown man who can't afford the gas to chase the points he needs to stop losing money. Then one night, buying the only flight that keeps the season alive, your card declines. You run it twice. The screen does not change. In the blue glow of the airport kiosk, you understand you're 1 bad month from driving home and stringing rackets in Ray's garage forever, telling people you used to play. And you have no idea that back in Belle Glade, a town full of people who can't afford it either is about to find out. Level 5. Challenger player. You qualified for the biggest tournament of your life and you can't afford to get there. A challenger is the tier right below the main tour. Bigger draws, real points, checks that almost cover a life. Almost. The costs climb right alongside the prize money, so you're now about $14,000 in debt to a credit card and to your mom, who cleans rooms at the Days Inn on 41 and still slides you $40 the weeks it's bad. You do the quitting math every night before sleep. Not if, when. The flight's $400 you do not have. Entry closes Friday. You're about to forfeit the best chance you ever earned over $400. And there's no way to say that sentence that doesn't make you want to put a hole in the drywall. You call home, beaten, ready to say it out loud. Then Belle Glade does something you spend the rest of your life trying to pay back. Dale, who's run Glade's pest control off 441 for 20 years, covers the flight. The Sugar House diner passes a coffee can around the counter, and it's Lena working the register who slides it down the line, who counts it twice, who irons the patch onto your shirt herself the night before you fly. A cartoon dead bug flat on its back, little X's for eyes, the logo of a one-truck exterminator from a town nobody's heard of. The kid who killed bugs for free is now bankrolled by the people who kill bugs for money. You should be humiliated. You have never stood up straighter. A week later, she's gone too, off to Miami to chase her own way out of the muck. You barely look up. You're chasing yours. And out there, with the dead bug over your heart, the thing finally lands. You've spent 2 years losing close matches trying to out-hit everyone, still swinging for the knockout, still the boxer ray dragged off the asphalt. But you don't beat people at this level. You outlast them. You stop trying to end points and start trying to survive them, 4 hours, 5, whatever it takes. Just being there when the ball arrives until the other guy's spirit leaves his body first. The fighter dies. The craftsman walks out. You win the whole challenger by attrition, the final a 3-hour grind where your opponent hits 40 winners and loses anyway. You just refuse to leave. That same month, on a motel TV, you watch Marcos lift the French Open, his first, the Vela logo on the trophy backdrop, his father weeping in the box. The distance between you isn't a gap anymore. It's an ocean, and he's on the far side of it in gold. You peel nothing off your shirt. The dead bug stays. It stays on every shirt you wear from here on. The challenger title bumps your ranking just high enough. For the first time you book a flight to a tour stop, the big show. You can finally afford the ticket. And you have no idea you're about to walk in as the poorest man in the building, or that the worst thing Marcos ever does to you is waiting on the other side of that door. Level 6. A TP tour player. You win 3 matches in a row and you still haven't made the tournament. That's qualifying. Before the main draw even starts, there's a whole second tournament for the people who aren't supposed to be there, and you win it just to earn the right to lose to somebody seeded. You do exactly that, 3 times, then draw a top 20 guy who beats you in straights while basically checking his phone. Here's what's different now. The stars travel with a staff of 6, a coach, a physio, a stringer, a nutritionist, and a guy whose entire job is the bags. You travel with a phone. Ray's on speaker in the locker room, scouting a backhand from a parking lot in Belle Glade. Nobody in that room learns your name. You've got a dead bug on your chest in a locker room full of Rolex and Red Bull, and you can feel them clock it and decide not to ask. Then you see her, Lena, the girl who ironed that patch onto your chest. Who slid the coffee can down the Sugar House counter? Who answered the phone at 1 a.m. for 2 years? It's a Masters, where qualifiers and gods share a parking lot, and she made it out of the muck after all, just not how either of you pictured. Just not for you, in head-to-toe designer with a Vela bag on her shoulder, on Marcus's arm, and when your eyes meet she looks at you the way you would look at a town you used to live in. Marcos doesn't recognize you. He has no idea he's standing next to the one thing of yours he ever took. He says something short and ugly to her under his breath, and you can already tell he'll throw her away inside a year. You sit in the lot that night and do not start the car. This is the closest you ever come to quitting. Not the broke nights, not the declined card. This. A girl from the muck in another man's logo. Then the dead bug catches the dome light. You think about a coffee can on a diner counter, and you turn the key. First round, a power player draws you and writes you off in the handshake. You drag him into the 5th hour. He hits twice as hard as you and you're simply there every time until his legs go and he's swinging at ghosts. You win your first main draw match on tour. The check clears your debt. All of it. To 0. You don't move because you've been a negative number so long that 0 feels like a fortune. You wire money to Ray and to Dale and tell the reps with the glossy custom paint number. And the commentators have already started doing the thing. Where did this guy come from? The Sunday they finally say your name like it belongs in the history of this sport is already circled on a calendar you can't see. You're one good week from the top 100, and every draw keeps bending you back toward Mallorca. Level 7. A TP top 100. For the first time in your life, you walk into a grand slam through the front door, and it feels like breaking and entering. That's what the top 100 buys you. Direct entry. No qualifying. The draw simply has your name in it like you belong. Here's what's different now. You're still broke next to the top 10 who make more from one watch ad than you've made in your life. But the phone rings differently. Agents, sponsors, and then the big one, Vela. Marcus's father's company, the logo that was on the racket that beat you at 15, the logo Lena was wearing, calls your agent with a number that would change your family forever. They want you now that you're useful, now that you might one day stand across the net from their son when it counts. You say no. You stay with a one-truck exterminator, a diner, and Tony's auto shop, the people who passed a coffee can when you were nobody. Your agent says you're leaving a fortune on the table. You tell him those people sponsored the kid who killed Bugs. Vela wants the guy who can kill Marcos. One of those is loyalty. The other is just a receipt for being right too late. That spring you beat a top 10 player at the Miami Open on a stadium court, on live TV, and the booth says it again. Where did this guy come from? Like your whole history resets every time a camera finds you. You climb toward the top 20, then the bill arrives. The wrist. The price of a game built on being there for every single ball, 4 and 5 hours at a time. The doctor says manage. Not fix, not heal. Manage like a debt you'll service the rest of your career. You play through it. Stopping scares you worse than the pain. There's money for a physio now, but you still won't hire a coach. Ray stays on the phone where he's always been. You tape the wrist before matches and ice it after. You're 28, and you move like 28 on the court and like 50 in the parking lot. And the next spring, 29 now, the draw for the French Open comes out. You're seated now, in the part of the bracket that doesn't lose early. As you trace the lines toward the final, the way everybody does, your finger stops on the other half. Marcos, on the red clay he was raised on. Same surface, same throne. If you both hold to the end, you meet in the final. The one you've been walking toward for 14 years, since a kid with a bug zapper got laughed off a court in Orlando, is finally, actually real. Level 8. Grand Slam finalist. You wake up on the morning of the French Open final, and your wrist is wrong, and across Paris, in a hotel nicer than any building in Belle Glade. This is the last court standing. Court Philippe Chatrier, 15,000 people, best of 5 hours on the red clay he learned to walk on. One match. Everything you ever bled for or none of it. Every mistake you make today lives on the internet until you die. In your box for the first time, sit Ray and your mom. Ray flew out in a borrowed Ralph Lauren blazer, the man who could never once afford a ticket to watch you lose in some Pensacola qualifier. Beside him, your mom, who took her first day off in years, who still tucks a folded 20 into your bag like you might need bus fare home. 5,000 miles back, the Sugar House Diner has every TV on the same channel, and Dale closed the shop. A whole town built on sugarcane is holding its breath over a dead bug on your shirt. You lose the first set, then the second, because the boxer comes back. Down 2 sets and scared, you start swinging for the knockout again, trying to punch through a man who eats power for breakfast, and he toys with you. And somewhere in your skull a 15-year-old hears kill flies or play tennis, and the balls start flying long. Then, in the third, at the very edge of the cliff, you hear the other voice. Stop trying to kill it. Be there when it arrives. So you stop. You quit trying to end him and start trying to outlast him, ball after ball after ball, refusing to leave, dragging a clay court god into the 4th hour and the 5th, where legs lie and pride cracks open. And Marcos was never built for this. He's been the exact same player since he was 16 because he never had to change, because the world handed him a finished game and a Vela contract and called it destiny. You changed at every level. He changed at none. That was always the difference. One of you was a prodigy. One of you was a project that never once stopped working. 2 sets all. Final set. Match point on your racket. He nets a forehand under the pressure and screams at the umpire, at the line judge, at his own box, his real face out now for the whole world. And the stadium that came to crown him turns on him in a wave you can feel in your teeth. The ball comes to your forehand, at the net, too fast to swing. So you don't swing. You snap your wrist and you're just there. The exact motion you learned murdering love bugs off a porch screen in the muck. the motion he laughed at, and the ball drops dead on his side and it is over. You beat the prodigy with the fly swatter. You'll win more of these. You will. But not one of them ever feels like this. This is the summit you climbed 14 years to reach, and you can't see that it's the summit, because from the very top, every direction still looks like up. Level 9. Retired. Tuesday. No flight, no practice court, no trainer with an opinion about your tendons. The first Tuesday since the day you turned pro 18 years ago that belongs to nobody. A tennis career is short by the standard of a life, and there's no buzzer. One day you're the thing the whole sport is built around. The next you're a guy with a bad wrist and a quiet house. The silence isn't peace. It's unemployment. You win 3 more slams after that French Open. Marco's never won another one. And it doesn't matter. Ask anybody, the fans, the writers, the kid you used to be. That final against Marcos was your peak. The one that meant something. You won 3 more, and not one ever meant more. The fans were right. Marcos doesn't get a level 9. Not a clean one. The way he treated people, the ball kids, the women, Lena, everyone he was sure would never matter, caught up with him at once. Sponsors ran. His father's own company pulled him from the ads. He retired ugly and early, and now he sits on a TV set in an okay suit, comfortable on camera the way he always was, paid to talk about a game he can't play. One night he says your name on air, calls you the most overrated champion of his generation. The world was built to crown him, the prodigy, the heir, and you took the crown anyway, without the talent that was supposed to come with it. To Marcos that reads like a glitch in the system, a clerical error he can't square. Overrated is the only word he's got for a defeat he can't explain. It's the most honest thing he has ever said about you. Lena came home about a year after Marcos was finished with her. You never said I told you so. You'd chosen a tennis ball over her for most of a decade, so neither of you ever really got to keep score. She's the one who drives you out to the old courts on Avenue E the day they put your name on the gate. They're resurfaced now. The canal's cleaner, the muck mostly drained, fewer bugs every year. Dale won that war too in the end. One of the boys who used to yell Serena coaches the rec kids here now and swears he taught you everything you know. There's a kid out there with a cracked frame, swinging at the ball like he's trying to kill it. You know that swing. You walk over and tell him to stop. Be there when it arrives. Ray watches from a bench, slower now, gray, grinning at a sentence he's been saying for 40 years. Your mom's beside him, the woman who bankrolled a Grand Slam champion $40 at a time. The kid makes 3 in a row and looks at you like you handed him the cheat code. At home, in a glass case in the hall, there are 4 Grand Slam trophies and, beside them, the racket from the Marcos final. And dead center, where the light hits it, a $4 electric bug zapper, half melted, the battery dead 20 years. It's worth nothing. It's the most expensive thing you own. The toughness you wanted at 12 was never in your fists. It was in your hands, in the half second before the ball arrives. That was always the whole game. If this one stayed with you, like and drop a comment with where you're watching from. Subscribe for more.